On a cold November evening in 1971, a man in a business suit walked onto a plane with a bomb, $200,000 in cash, and a parachute. Then he jumped into a thunderstorm and vanished forever. His name was D.B. Cooper, and to this day, nobody knows who he was, or if he even survived. November 24th, 1971, Thanksgiving Eve. Portland International Airport was bustling with travelers heading home for the holidays. Among them was a man who bought a ticket under the name Dan Cooper. He was in his mid-40s, wearing a black suit, white shirt, and a narrow black tie. Nothing about him stood out. He boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 bound for Seattle. Just 36 passengers and 6 crew members. A routine 30-minute flight, or so they thought. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. She thought it was a phone number, so she tucked it away without reading it. But Cooper leaned over and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note was clear. He had a bomb in his briefcase. He wanted $200,000 in $20 bills, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck ready in Seattle. If they didn't comply, he'd blow up the plane. Schaffner alerted the cockpit. The pilots contacted Seattle. The FBI scrambled, but Cooper remained calm, even ordering a bourbon and soda. When Schaffner sat next to him, he showed her the briefcase. Inside, red cylinders, wires, and a battery. It looked real. The plane circled Seattle for over 2 hours while authorities gathered the ransom. Banks were called. The FBI photographed every serial number on all 10,000 $20 bills. 4 parachutes were obtained, 2 primary chutes and 2 reserves. At 5:45 p.m., Flight 305 landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. Cooper's demands were met. In exchange, he released all 36 passengers. Only the flight crew remained. Cooper then issued new instructions. Refuel the plane, set a course for Mexico City, fly low and slow, no higher than 10,000 feet, no faster than 200 miles per hour. Keep the rear stairs down and depressurize the cabin. The crew tried to talk him out of it. Flying with the stairs down was dangerous, maybe impossible, but Cooper knew exactly what he was doing. He'd clearly studied the Boeing 727. At 7:40 p.m., the plane took off into a raging storm. Thunder, rain, freezing temperatures, zero visibility. Cooper was now alone in the rear of the cabin with $200,000 and 2 parachutes. At approximately 8 p.m., somewhere over the wilderness of Washington State, the crew felt a sudden change in air pressure. A warning light indicated the rear stairs had been deployed. At 8:13 p.m., the plane's tail bounced slightly, a movement consistent with someone jumping off. D.B. Cooper had jumped into a freezing rainstorm in total darkness over dense forest and mountainous terrain. The temperature outside was well below zero. He was wearing only a business suit and loafers. When the plane landed in Reno, Nevada, Cooper was gone. So was the money. So was 1 parachute. The FBI launched one of the most extensive manhunts in American history. They combed the suspected jump zone, a rugged area near Ariel, Washington. They searched for weeks. Nothing. They tracked the serial numbers on the ransom bills. Not a single one ever turned up in circulation. It was as if the money vanished. Over the years, hundreds of suspects were investigated. Sketches were made. Tips poured in. But nobody could definitively be identified as Cooper. Then in 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was digging on a beach along the Columbia River. He found $5,800 in decomposed $20 bills. The serial numbers matched. It was Cooper's money. But how did it get there? Did Cooper die in the jump and wash up downstream? Or did he bury it and lose track of it? Theories abound. Some believe Cooper died on impact or from hypothermia. The conditions were brutal. Experienced skydivers say the jump was nearly suicidal. Others think he survived. Maybe he was a military veteran, an experienced parachutist who knew exactly what he was doing. One popular theory suggests Cooper was Richard Floyd McCoy, a former Green Beret who pulled off a similar hijacking just months later. But McCoy was killed in a shootout with the FBI, and the evidence linking him to Cooper remains circumstantial. Some believe Cooper was never found because he was never a real person, just a composite of multiple individuals involved in a coordinated heist. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the case. No body was ever found, no parachute, And except for that $5,800 on the riverbank, none of the ransom money ever surfaced. D.B. Cooper became a legend, the daring outlaw who beat the system, the ghost in the storm. But the question remains, did he survive? Is he out there, living under a new name? Or did he die that cold November night, lost forever in the wilderness? The mystery of D.B. Cooper remains unsolved.